RAF, the Latvian bus manufacturer, went bankrupt in 1998, and the very last production vehicle to roll out of their factory was a hearse. It went to Moscow. According to BMW's research in 2010, 80% of 1 Series owners thought that their car was front-wheel drive. Mind you, this was before the 1 Series was actually front-wheel drive. Prior to 1967, Triumph Heralds came from the factory without any fuses. Once the 1360 update was introduced though, it received a single fuse for the headlights. At the 1988 Pontiac dealership conference, the Pontiac ad men unveiled Pontiac's new marketing direction featuring the Ride Pontiac Ride music video that was to be used in advertising materials. The loud and positive reaction to this video was so immense that it had to be played at least twice more before the Pontiac dealership representatives would allow the director of marketing to finish his speech. The following year, Pontiac's sales numbers increased by nearly 18%. In 1995, Volvo unveiled their new naming system with the all-new S4 sedan and F4 wagon, replacing the old 3-digit numbering scheme. After Volvo had unveiled these glitzy new cars with all of their brochures and marketing material, Audi came knocking on their door to remind Volvo that they already had dibs on the S4 name. So Volvo complied and the S4 became the S40 and the F4 became the F40. The V40. The Lincoln Town Car can do 63 miles per hour in reverse. We all know that Škodas and Rolls-Royces feature built-in umbrella holders now, but the Ferrari 348 competitor Nissan NX featured an umbrella holder as an optional extra back in the early 90s. In 2001, exclusive pictures appeared in Autocar magazine of a prototype of a supposed successor to the Rover 45 based on the Rover 75 but with its butt cut off. This material was obtained by Autocar after supposedly their editor went out for lunch with a person from Rover who accidentally left the picture behind with them. Soon, however, it emerged that the picture was a fabrication in the sense that the MG Rover people had just stuck a bunch of trash bags onto a 75 and photoshopped the rear end to be shorter. They then let this image leak to make it seem like there were new projects being developed. But the fact is, MG Rover did not have a single running prototype of their new hatchback. The design of the Citroën C3 Picasso was inspired by iPods and Smeg refrigerators. The Morse code for H is 4 dots or beeps. Honda used 4 beeps for their door chime, and Hyundai uses 4 dots in place of a logo on the steering wheels of certain models. A total of 3 cars have gotten the esteemed crash test rating of 0 stars from the Euro NCAP. The Fiat Punto in 2017, the Fiat Panda in 2018, and finally the Renault Zoe in 2021. All 3 were older models being tested under more modern and stringent tests. The designer of the Volvo C30 had an official photo shoot with the taillights he designed for the C30. Renault debuted a new logo in 1971 and applied it to their all-new Renault 5. Some had already made it to dealerships when, Kent comes along and points out that this is their logo. Renault quickly changed their logo, again, and promptly buried any mentions of this one. Though some Renault 5, 15 and 17 models do still exist with the forbidden badge on them. When Bill Hayden, the at the time new CEO of Jaguar, was first shown the clay model for the planned XJ90, he exclaimed that it was so good looking that he was about to have an orgasm. Good. Despite an all-new Chevy Malibu rolling into production for 2004, Chevrolet kept selling the older model as the classic. The reason behind this being that Chevrolet forgot to tell the Lansing factory to slow production down on the outgoing Malibu. As such, they eventually had around 10,000 old Malibus sitting around. So these cars got classic badges on them and were sold to fleet buyers. The 4th generation Renault Scenic came equipped with 20-inch wheels as standard. For comparison, the current Audi A6 can be had with 18-inch wheels as standard. Speaking of Audi, this iconic advertisement with a 100 Quattro climbing up a ski jump was based on an actual event where Ferdinand Piëch showed up to a Volkswagen upper management meeting that was being held on top of a mountain in Austria. He was driving a prototype of the Audi Quattro wearing summer tires and proceeded to climb up the 23-degree grade in the car. Here is the Chevrolet S3X concept. That is its actual name. Mitsubishi holds the record for the smallest V6 ever put into production, as they once upon a time produced a 1.6-liter V6. Music Gate was an optional extra on the Dodge Caliber. Essentially, it was a set of speakers with a subwoofer integrated into the rear tailgate. The original BMW developed Mini featured a large speedometer in the middle of the dash, but because of specific Australian regulations, the Minis that were sold down under moved the speedometer to in front of the steering wheel, and the dial in the dash became a massive rev counter.
Do you want to be happy? Join the Corsicar membership program on YouTube today and receive exclusive content and the right to brag for decades to come. Tell your family, tell your friends, and join the Corsicar membership program on YouTube together to support your 57th favorite content creator. Just keep in mind, these cheap prices will last forever.